What does The Goodfellas and Guardians of the Galaxy have in common? They're both really good movies. What does The Godfather Part 3 and Thor: The Dark World have in common? They're both not that good movies. So why all the drama? If you haven't seen a Marvel movie yet, brownie points for you, because after 23 films spanning over 10 years, cashing in billions of dollars, begging the Academy for Oscars, hiring the biggest actors, veteran and young blood, it's fair to say that Marvel movies, or in general superhero movies, have been dominating the box office for a few years now. Nerd culture is bigger than ever since these 6 characters joined on the screen for the first time back in 2012. But what does nerd culture even mean? Dick Hebage wrote a chapter titled The Function of Subculture. He defines a subculture as engagements with the larger system of late industrial culture. They're organized around, but not wholly determined by, age and class, and are expressed in the creation of styles. There are so many subcultures out there, and they all are powerful in their own way, same with nerd culture. Now, subcultures are built out of tension between one or more groups. One of the very first nerd cultures is Star Wars versus Star Trek fans. In the gaming world, it's Xbox or PlayStation. In the last 10 years, it's been DC versus Marvel fans. And now, more recently, it's cinema versus cinematic. Martin Scorsese, director of The Goodfellas, had an interview with Empire magazines talking about Marvel films. He was saying, "I don't see them. I try, you know. But that's not cinema. Honestly, the closest I can think of them as well made as they are, with actors doing the best they can under the circumstance, is theme parks." He ain't over yet. He continues saying, "It isn't cinema of human beings trying to convey emotional, psychological experiences to another human being." Now, before we all go yell at him, I'm going to defend him by what I said earlier. Cinema versus cinematic. Cinema is a noun and is related to films of art, recently being Robert Eggers' The Lighthouse.
How long have we been on this rock?
While Avengers Endgame is cinematic, which is an adjective related to films that have an amazing moment in them, like the final battle scene. Both are great. James Gunn, director of the Guardians of the Galaxy films, went on Twitter saying, "Martin Scorsese is one of my 5 favorite living filmmakers. I was outraged when people picketed The Last Temptation of Christ without having seen the film. I'm saddened that he is now judging my films in the same way." Other directors in the MCU, like Jon Favreau and Joss Whedon, have backed up Gunn against what Scorsese said, but then Francis Coppola, the director of the Godfather trilogy, stepped into frame, stating to an interviewer at the Lumiere Festival, "I don't know that anyone gets anything out of seeing the same movie over and over again. Martin was kind when he said it's not cinema. He didn't say it's despicable, which I just said it is." I think we all need to calm down for a second, because at the end of the day, these are all movies. Coppola has recently came out over the backlash of fans angry that he called Marvel films despicable. Apparently this was faulty translation. Because out of a Deadline article with the director, he stated that you can't keep repeating what is essentially the same movie for financial gain. In other words, what is a formulaic approach. I think the reason why Coppola had to rephrase what he said is from all the online hate he was getting from the Marvel communities that have been building up over the last 10 years. Subcultures have these styles or isms that help focus on the culture. Whether that be race, gender, class, or geographic, they need some type of ism to help that subculture be known to the mass culture. That is why I think age plays a huge ism in the nerd culture. Martin Scorsese and Francis Coppola were a part of the film director school, same with George Lucas and Steven Spielberg back in the 70s, and they changed cinema as we know it today. Now, directors like James Gunn, Joss Whedon, and Jon Favreau grew up watching those filmmakers and being inspired by them, but also playing video games and reading comics, hoping that one day they could take what they learned from all the sources of media and make something that they could be proud of. Inspiring writers and filmmakers like myself also have social media now. We take the inspiration, what we've gotten from Scorsese and Gunn, and in 20 years, we are going to make movies and hope that those directors see those movies, if they're still alive, that they will support us and give us words of encouragement. If it wasn't for nerd culture, I wouldn't be talking about this right now. That's how big this culture is becoming and will continue to grow until Marvel runs out of movies 30 years from now. So, Is nerd culture ruining cinema? Everyone has a title to their own opinion, and social media is faster than ever, which makes it easier to express your feelings towards another person's statement. And the angrier the culture is, the louder they will become. That being said, at the end of the day, these are all just movies. I love both Scorsese's The Departed and Jon Favreau's Iron Man, but I'm not the biggest fan of Raging Bull or Zathura. Totally forgot that was a movie. Nerd culture can be as open as movies or as narrow as Marvel films. No matter what, there is a culture there to either back you up or tear you apart. That's a subculture for you.